Good morning, Art and Answers. Thanks for waiting on me. I had a little technical difficulty there. But Meg's tutorial is really going to be interesting. I think it's going to really resonate with you. It is about figuring out how stress feels in your body and when to put the brakes on. And we've got a project called What's in Your Wallet. And the reason we're calling it that is because there's a prize this month. And if you paint your version and post it in the group, we're going to have a random draw for a wearable watch. I had a call. Sorry about that. So we're going to have that, and it's going to be really fun. So this was the mock-up that I did that I thought was really cute. It's almost a little punk rock, right? You know, the one I'm going to do today with you is going to be in more muted tones, just because I thought it would be fun for you to be able to see how one design can be done in so many different ways. And I would love for you to personalize this and make it totally your own. You're also welcome to make it exactly like this or exactly like the one that we're doing today. So you don't need a whole new life. When you think to yourself, I am so stressed out, I need a complete revamp, you know, you don't need that. You just need to know how to make space for who you really are and shed the rest. So we're going to be filling out all these possibilities. So I'm going to turn you down to my table. I have like a little hair or something. I can feel it. So I'm sorry. Maybe I'll find it. All right, so we're going to turn you down here to the table. I think I do need to get you a little higher so that you can see. Better? Okay. So I did do this background a little bit because I wanted it to be dry, so when we did the inner one, that it would not bleed. And so I'm going to simply take my water and I'm going to put it down here in this place. Now, I've already printed off the template and put it onto my page, taped it down to my plastic cutting board. So I've already gotten all this prepared. Really just out of respect for your time. You don't need to watch me do all that. And we have tutorials in Art and Answers to show you how to do all that. So that's why we're kind of starting here. But tell me what color scheme you think you might use on this project. I don't know that the more neutral tones are really going to be as punchy for this, but we're going to find out. Sometimes that's how you do. That's how you find things out. So this is a wet on wet technique. And I'm just kind of getting it on the page and letting it soak in a little bit. This is how you get a nice, smooth background. There we go. And I've already got my palette created. You can see that. And I think we're gonna go into the lime. Ooh, I like that. It's pretty. Kind of a bright olive. Definitely has a lime flavor to it. And this is one of those things you really need to, when you're mixing paints and not using them right out of the pot, you need to mix enough that you can get your whole project done. I don't know that this is going to be enough, but I know that I can mix this quickly. And also, I have a very close color in tone and hue right next to it. And so I may put a little bit darker, you know, kind of mix them together, because when we have this wet on wet, they're going to mix nicely. So as I'm coming down here on this side, don't really want it on her face, I'm going to kind of pick up this little darker color, and it's going to end up feeling like a shadow, because typically light is got one source. I mean, unless it's noon, it's just raining down right on top of your head. So I'm going to pick up some of that lighter color, and we're going to let that blend just a little bit. So we're talking about stress today, and stress in the body shows up because you've been carrying way too much for too long without any kind of a release. It's not always about what's happening or about what your mind is, body is what you think and what you're holding on to. And so there are different types and levels of stress. So we're going to learn what they are. I'm kind of letting this dry before I start working on her skin pigment there. I don't know if you noticed what I just did, but I just painted her forehead green. Isn't it nice that it's still pretty cool? Still pretty wet, so I can get it up. I think that's going to be okay. So, as you know, there's good stress. I mean, we need stress. We can't live without stress. We just don't need an overabundance of stress. Everything in life is a balance. And we actually need stress to help you meet a deadline. It helps you get excited. It gives you that push. We actually can't even wake up without some type of stress, creating some cortisol in your body, so that you can wake up. And it's important because it's part of what gives you your energy. You know, think about, where do you get some good stress from? How about planning a trip, or doing something exciting, hosting a little small party or something. Maybe you're excited about learning something new. But not all stress is a warning. It's just some of it signals that you're engaging in your life, which is certainly important. I think I need a skin tone color, and I've got blue in this one, so I'm going to try to get that out. And then we move on to manageable stress, right? You gotta have manageable stress, and that's the everyday load, the things that are normal, the things that are constant, the things that you just don't even think about anymore. It's just part of living. You gotta have that. I think do a little bit of this too. And that's, what you do when you're running a household, or remembering all the things that you've got to do. You're juggling roles. You're got low level mental noise every day. It's something you can manage, something you can handle. That was way too much. There we go. She's going to look a little, let's see. I think that one's going to be okay. All right. It's not just one big managing things all the time. And we all do that pretty well. Okay, so before we go into her skin tone and how to actually get a roundness of her face or whatever, we're going to put the design in the back. And I thought it would be fun to use this technique that we tried on Tuesday. I'm still waiting for that to dry a little bit. If you don't come see me on Tuesdays at 10 on my business page, that's where we learned that. But we're going to learn it right here again too. So this particular one covers the entire design. And I'm going to get a wet wipe, baby wipe. And we're going to remove one layer of this paint. And it's going to leave a really pretty design there. So an overload of stress is when we get in trouble. It's when your body starts waving flags at you. You're trying to get your attention. But what does that look like? So often we just ignore it because we don't know. So that shows up as irritability. And this is good to know not only for yourself, because it's hard to see things in yourself, but to see in other people. So irritability, oh, I got that way too wet. Exhaustion, when you just cannot get enough rest. You just want to sleep or nap all the time. Or you're just kind of going through life, doing the motions, doing the bare minimum, and you're like, what is wrong with me? When you're totally stressed, you get sick more often. You think, what's wrong with me? Why am I just not hitting on all cylinders? Brain fog. Any of you get brain fog? Walk into a room, can't figure out why you're there. This also has to do with those hormones we were talking about. I'm doing just one color first, the green color, and then I'm going to move to the background, the other color with a different wet wipe, because I don't want to start smudging a contrasting color into this space. And so finally, when we get literally to the last stage of stress that you just can't cope with anymore, the kind that is absolutely debilitating, you begin an emotional shutdown. You just don't care. There's a lot of things like social anxiety that go along with that. You just don't want to be around other people. You don't want to engage. And what it really comes down to is you want to be around anybody else who's going to ask you to do something for them. You need someone to do something for you at that stage. And when you look around and all you see are things that people want from you, then you just get to that shutdown stage. So the goal of this piece today is to get you where you recognize that before you shut down, before you start snapping at your friends and family, before you just cannot lay down and get enough rest in one day. There we go. All right, I'm gonna lift this up. Look at that. Turned out great. It's a little bit wet. Can you see the pattern in the background? Okay. So, it's the unrelenting accumulation without any relief is when your body isn't failing you. It's just trying to get your attention. These are the things that we have to pay attention to. So we're going to learn the language that describes this better and the words that we can use to speak to ourselves, if nothing else. Instead of saying, I'm stressed, we're going to learn the different categories of stress and say to ourselves, okay, this is energizing stress, or this is a constant load stress that I can still handle, or this is just too much. This is just too much and I can't handle anymore, and I'm going to stand up for myself and say something about it. So let's get this pigment into her face. And then we will carry on discussing that. So I put this green on her forehead, but I think it's going to be okay. So this I'm just going to kind of do dry, although this paper is a little bit wet, damp. But this is just her hairline. And I really like this pattern in the back. It's great. So I'm going to lay this in first. And I'm going to let it dry, and I'm going to come back and put a little bit more here, like for a shadow for the edge of her hair. I'll come back and put some more under her glasses. And when you're working dry like this, your brush strokes really do matter. So we're going to try to pay attention to that. So we've got, if you notice, I've already created a little roundness of her face simply by the brush strokes, by the shadowing here. I'm going to bring this down. And we're going to bring it down on this side. I'm not going to do her lips with this just yet. Put some down here on her neck. There we go. And if you notice, wherever you lift your brush up, you leave a little puddle of paint. And so I'm just going to put a little dot there and a little dot there because the sides of your mouth are folded. And you're going to have a shadow there. I'm also going to put a few dots here at the bottom of her neck. And I'm going to let that spread out a little bit. We're going to put some right here. Actually, we'll give her a little blush first. We'll give her a little peachy blush. And it's a little bit, don't forget that watercolor is going to try a little lighter, but I kind of like it. I kind of like it. It's sort of edgy. And then I'm going to go in there with that flesh tone and move it up, move it around. Smooth it in a little bit. See, and we're just going to carefully move it around and give her face a little roundness, okay? Okay. I'm not going to touch her face just yet because I don't want it to blend in. I want it to be just on her lips. If you were alive in the 80s and 90s, you know, we lined our lips and then put the color in. So we're going to kind of do that a little bit. And you know, you never have to fill in everything. We're only going to put the teeth sort of in the center of her mouth because you can never see all your teeth. All right. Give her a little bit more shadow here. I'm not sure, yeah, there's a paper towel over here and I'm just drying my brush off so that I don't have so much there. Okay, and we're going to put just a little bit of shadow right there. Okay, I think, I don't know, I'm not what shirt color we should make her sweater. I'm kind of feeling like I don't want it to be too contrasty because I don't want you to, when you look at it, I don't want you to only see the sweater. These are the things I think about sometimes. I think maybe we'll go into this kind of, it's kind of a weird, yeah, I think that'll be nice. Contrasty, but not so much, you know, in your face, really. And we're going to put some ink details on this one. I think I'm going to put some more like yellow in there. Yeah, that's kind of nice. And you notice I don't care. I don't care that it's not all exactly the same color. Like I'm gonna leave that bluish kind of there. Because it's only going to add interest in the end. I'm gonna use my brush strokes to my advantage here. There we go. And it's okay that I have a little white space here. That's just sort of the nature of watercolor. It's okay. I don't mind it. I'm going to put ink there anyway. I am going to kind of go over here and get from my palette a little bit, just kind of a little bit of gray. And I'm going to put it right here in the corners of her mouth because you can't see people's teeth. And they're not completely white anyway. So I'm just going to kind of put the suggestion of a shadow there. Okay. not draw in her lenses. So we're going to get that in there. Mostly just because I want them to be symmetrical. I could eyeball it, but I think it'll be better this way. Here we go. I like it. And I'm going to get my kneaded eraser and just sort of lighten that color up a little with that pencil. I don't mind seeing pencil. That lens is a lot smaller. I like it. And I have acrylic paint for the lenses because I want to seal the paper because I want it to be shiny. I want the lenses to be shiny. Okay. So while that's kind of drying, I'm going to kind of I'm going to give you the formula, the formula, what to do here. So when you think and you speak in these terms, I'm going to kind of give you a language to talk about your own stress, even if you're just talking to yourself about your own stress, and it will give you clues as to what to do. I'm trying to drink more water. So first you're going to name it. Okay, what kind of stress is this? Just like we were talking about a minute ago. Is this energizing stress? Is this constant load stress? Or is this absolutely just too much to bear and it's time to make a change? And then you're going to start thinking to yourself, well, how can I adjust if it's needed? Do I need to add support? Do I need to delay something, put it on the back burner? Do I need to remove something altogether? Or do I need to just release it altogether? And this is something as women that we just sometimes we just never figured out. We never do this. We never just let it go. We think we can just keep taking things on. But there are some very simple things that if you recognize what's happening, it works. I promise it works. So step outside, move your body a little bit, even if it's just swinging your arms. Say it out loud. Talk it out with yourself. Try to figure out what it is that's unacceptable. Or maybe it is acceptable and you were just being unrealistic. That's something too. Find something, somewhere, or someone to laugh with. Laughter creates so many feel-good hormones that it solves a lot of problems. It takes the tension out of things. So the wisdom is knowing where you stand and what not to pick up. What kind of stress have you been calling normal? I want you to think about that. What have you been calling normal? I think she's going to have some brown glasses, and I'm going to take this right out of the pot, right out of the pan. We're gonna put some glasses on. Also dry. like this color. It's got kind of a camel. All right. Remember, you don't have to color it all in. You can leave it open for a natural highlight, or like I'm gonna leave a little place right here. Or you can add it later with white if that better suits you. I'm kind of liking this neutral one too. No, I don't like that. So what have you been calling normal that you're starting to realize now is maybe something you should let go? You know, something you're putting up with that somebody's doing or not doing. Someone not speaking kindly into your world. You know, that all contributes to stress. And you need to recognize it. Call it out. We'll dab some more color in there. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. So, I'm here to tell you that we notice we carry this around in our bodies first before it gets loud enough to actually hear for you to pay attention to it. All of a sudden you're like, why am I so stiff? Why am I feeling bad? Why am I sleepy? Why am I so irritated? And then you go, oh, that's why, because, you know, I'm stressed out because of this, this, and this. So today isn't about fixing anything. It's about recognizing sooner what is actually going on. Okay? So I suggest a regular routine where you check in with yourself, like maybe every morning. I mean, you just figure out in your schedule what seems to look logical. I want a little sharper line right there. There we go. What looks logical to you? And are you starting to have a tightness or a pressure in your chest? Are you having a hard time swallowing? Take a moment to think about your breath. Or is it kind of shallow? Do you have an occasional racing heart for no apparent reason? You know, just sit in a quiet space and think of these things. That would be your chest and your breathing. And then move to the rest of your body. What seems to be wrong there? Are your shoulders starting to creep up? Your neck and your jaw is starting to clench? Are you having headaches? That's a big one. You know, we pass headaches off as everything imaginable. So often, it's just because you've got some things going on that don't need to be going on. Are you physically tired and you just know that you just can't relax? This is just acrylic paint, and I'm going to paint it in the inside of her lenses there so it will be a little shinier. If you look at this one, I did that with the black. It's a little shinier. I did this with black gloss. This is not. This is matte. And honestly, when it dries, I'm just gonna paint it with some clear nail polish because this will seal the paper and I want it to be more shiny. This is a big a big indicator of stress in my life. You tell me if this is stress in your life. But thoughts that just keep looping. They just keep looping. Like you lay down at night and you just keep thinking the same words over and over again. That's stress. How about overthinking simple things? I see this in my girlfriends all the time. I just don't know. I just don't know. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe this, maybe that. I just don't know. When I hear that over and over, I think you are so stressed out and you don't even recognize it. You don't realize it. But we're going to have to start realizing it now, right? You start getting forgetful and brain fog. Now, there's lots of reasons that could be happening, but try to pay attention to when it happens for medical reasons as opposed to just feeling, just having too much going on and your body is stressed. Another one that I noticed in myself is feeling scattered. Just, you don't even know what's going on anymore, You just feel like you don't know what to do next. And look at this paintbrush. Isn't this cool? It's got glitter on it. So in your mind and body, when you start getting your mind and body mixed up in this whole thing, then that's when you start seeing irritability. You're feeling kind of on the edge all the time. You're feeling overwhelmed. When those kinds of words start coming out of your mouth, you're admitting to yourself, oh, I feel overwhelmed. That's a lot. There's a lot going on. Because ladies, I know how we are. I know we don't want to give in. We don't want to be perceived as weak. But when the word I'm overwhelmed comes out of your mouth, you need to trust it. That is a very strong word. And it's not something you necessarily chose to say. It's something that's just come out. When you want to withdraw or shut down completely, I've done this. I'm a very, a very social person. I love to be around people. I love to entertain. I love to talk. I love to listen to people and learn things. But when I'm stressed out, I don't want to be around anybody. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to have to come up with conversation. And, with everything I've been through recently with my mom, my husband was saying, you've got to get in your car and drive somewhere because not only do you need it, but your car has got to move. The battery was just not functioning well anymore. So our bodies are that way too. So pay attention to that too. Has that changed in your life? You're usually kind of an extrovert and now all of a sudden you're all shut down. Or the opposite's true sometimes too. Like when you're really stressed out, you just work harder. You just don't, it's just opposite. You just keep pushing. You do more. And the last category is rest. Are you having trouble sleeping? Your mind just won't turn off. You keep waking up, you're sleeping all night, but you're waking up tired. So the goal is not to become someone who you're not, or someone that has no stress at all. The goal is to recognize sooner what you need. And what you're going to do about it. Now, in order to help you, once you identify what's going on, then you can start figuring out, exactly what am I going to do to stop, pay attention to it, be aware of it. Honestly, awareness alone can change your life. Stress stops being so mysterious when you've named it and you know what's happening and you know where it's going. If you don't if you don't calm down, take a walk, change your environment, stop allowing things to happen. But it's worth noticing so that you can be selective about how you use your energy. Your energy is so important. And so for the theme building activity, we're going to do this bingo. It is not traditional bingo. We're not going to try to, get a line of whatever. And I want you to literally go through your purse. It tells you a lot about your personality. Why are you carrying all that stuff around in your purse every day? And it will, there's different things like old receipts, pens that don't even work, candy where the wrappers are all half off, things that you need to return. Then that's the first column. The second column is my brain just won't turn off. And this is an awareness thing. So replaying conversations, remembering something that you forgot, planning for someone else, that's not yours. Don't take on that stress if it's not yours. Overthinking a decision, mentally organizing all the time, worrying about the future. That's anxiety, by the way. Anxiety is worrying about the future, worrying about something that you don't know is going to happen. And it doesn't have any place in your life because you don't know what's going to happen. You just have to go with it. Carrying something that isn't yours. This is looking look who took responsibility again. That's this middle one. How often are you sitting around with guilt or the pressure to just handle it, feeling responsible for other people's feelings, not wanting to disappoint? I mean, I'm big about that. That motivates me to do a lot of things I probably don't have any business doing, because I don't want anyone to be disappointed. I want everyone to feel fulfilled. Holding it all in, trying to keep the peace. Who does that, right? I know I do that too. Feeling like you should do more all the time, should do more. And then tiny de-stresses, tiny wins, things that you can give yourself a pat on the back. I rested without any guilt. I went outside. I didn't respond right away. And if you're looking at this is fingernails. Like, I flipped my hair and I looked at my fingernails. I didn't run to that problem to solve it immediately. I said no, or I didn't volunteer. I did something that I wanted to do. That's important. Let something go unfinished, or actually took a deep breath. And these are some of the responses. My body said, excuse me. You walked into a room and you reheated your coffee for the third time. You noticed that your jaw is clenched. You couldn't find something, with you, or that was on, like you can't find your glasses, but they're on your head. Started 3 things at once. This is a capybara juggling bananas. You snapped easily over something. That's that irritability. You needed quiet instead of advice. Or you felt tired and burnout. You can't relax. So the whole idea is that you're going to be paying attention and circle the ones that surprise you because you didn't really notice it. That's what this is about. The awareness of what I'm doing and I don't even recognize it. catch yourself, paying attention to what fills up first. What are your patterns? So I'll be interested if you want to make comments for the rest of the week, different things that you noticed about things you discovered on the bingo board, then, let me know. I think it'd be interesting. So we've got all our colors blocked off, and I found a new pen that I really like that is actually waterproof, and I'm very happy about it because I can do a lot of my pen work, and if I want to go back with the watercolor, I can. It doesn't smudge. So we're going to go through, and I'm just going to kind of get some of the pen work started to show you, like maybe the sweater and some things just to kind of get you going. But that's laborious and detailed, so I'm not going to really bore you with that. But I'm going to come up here on her sweater. Again, you never have to completely outline things. And I'm going to show you something fun too after we get this done. So sweaters are kind of fun because they have such an interesting pattern. And we're going to probably do some of the shading there with that. But I'm going to go and we're going to kind of make these lines like the ribbed section of a turtleneck. And we're not going to do them exactly. There we go. And you're going to make little V's. This is something that if you can make it as uniform as possible, it definitely makes it cuter. And then we're going to go the opposite way, like that. Okay? I will put the shiny part in her lenses. I'm going to outline this whole thing. But this was the fun part. This is the part that I was talking about. Go through your baubles. Because, let me get this where you can see it. Hey, Terry. What's the name of the pen? That's a great idea. It's a Stadler. This one is a pigment liner 0.8. And I'll come back and answer all these questions so that you'll have it written down there. But I've been looking, it says it's from Germany. So it's Stadler, Staedtler. But I'll come back and answer all those as well. So this is what I thought was fun. If you grab all your stuff, I thought I think I'm going to give her, some really fun 3-dimensional earrings. Maybe even these, this is like striped beads. I don't know if it's going to stay there. I found these little fish that I may put up here on her horn-rimmed glasses, There we go. I also found this. This is fun. This is endless. You could do anything on this. I thought, I could give her a necklace, right? I even found this charm that says, love look. And this is probably why I got interested in the neutral colors. because I found these pretty things, you know, and we can do something like that. So, you know, I know you got stuff. I know you have, you know, all these fun things sitting around your house that you can glue to this lady and make her really fancy. So I'm going to bring you up here. We went a little bit over an hour. I don't like to do that. Love the bling. I know it. Thank you guys for coming today. I hope you learned something about stress. I hope you acknowledge the fact that some of it's good. It's not all evil. But start paying attention to how it feels. And acknowledge that that's what it is. And decide, is it okay or not? And what you're going to do about it. So, when you do your version and post it, I'm going to do a drawing. And you're going to win this cute purse. I'm so excited about it. I'm so jealous. I may have to get myself one too. So, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed it today. And I'll see you soon. Bye.